Told you that it does not really matter the nature of the software you use, but what's more important is the skill set that you have as a video editor. That's the most important. All right, so having stated that fact, the reason we chose to use Adobe Premiere Pro is because it's industry standard for most video editor. All right, because Adobe suite of softwares can do a whole lot of things, from Premiere to Photoshop to After Effects, just name it. Okay, so it is a tool that you guys should make sure that you understand most of their tools, if not all of them, to help your workflow. Trust me, if you are multi-talented with all of these, you're going to make a lot of money and you're going to get a lot of jobs. Most people give clients jobs want to know that you are multi-talented and dynamic in working with Adobe software. Without further ado, let's just jump into what we have for today. Yesterday, I introduced the software to you and I showed you guys how to import clips into the software. I told you what the project panel is for, and I also showed you how you can review what's on your project in the source monitor. Then later we went to creating our sequence on the timeline, and I told you that whenever you want to edit, the things that you have to edit are going to be done on the timeline. So if you are editing a sequence, it's done on the timeline window, and the timeline window is usually displayed on the program monitor. This is the monitor that is just right above the timeline. Okay, I also showed you how to cut clips using the razor tool, how to select clips, move clips, how to zoom in, zoom out, scroll upward, how to move to the end of a clip, how to move backward, how to move frame by frame also. They also make sure that we dealt with test. That I think that was where I stopped. Okay. We also make sure that I showed you how to speed up your workflow. Instead of going to click the razor tool every time, what you want to do, you want to make sure that you have repo editing turned on. I told you to go to edit and click on preferences, then click trim. When you click trim, the two check boxes that you have up there, just click them up and you now have repo editing features using your selection tool for repo editing. What this does is that it helps you not to keep crisscrossing between the razor tool and your selection tool, or the repo edit tool, or the rate stretch tool. By just using your selection tool, which has the shortcut V, it is important you know all of these shortcuts. All right. The truth of the matter is this: you want to make sure that you understand everything to make your workflow fast is what you really want to do. So the reason we are trying to do this technique without clicking all the razor tool or whatever is to buy those time that you waste moving your cursor to go there to click. If you have used this, to start working already, because your client will be waiting for you to deliver your jobs. All right. Having done this, you would see that you now have the ability to use the selection tool only in your editing. So if you position the selection tool close to the tip of or close to the end of a clip, it's going to change. Wherever there's a cut, it's going to change for you to restretch, for you to either repo edit or repo trim. Whatever you want to do is going to show you. So let's just delve into that and continue from there as a recap. Then we head into what we have for the day. So I will jump now into Premiere and open the same project that we had for yesterday, which is Masterclass 1, if you remember. So Premiere is going to open the project, the saved project for us. It's taking a bit of time to load. I think my PC is a bit full. That's where all this is coming from. Okay, as a recap, let me just show you what to do. I said this is the project pane, right? The project panel, and if you want to import clip, you just double click or you click up the folder, then you drag and drop inside. Okay, that's what you do. That's that for how to import. Now I told you that for you to get your sequence to work with on the timeline, you have to create it. You have to know the dimensions. So I'll go again, come to setting. I want to create a 1920 by 1080 video, which is 16 by 9, just the way your screen is, that horizontal video. Okay, I told you also that what you will need for the most part is 30 frames per second, which simply means that you have 30 frames of image for every second. If I click OK, it's going to create the sequence for me, and the sequence comes with all of the tools that you need to make the edit. So this is a clip that we have here. If I drag this clip in here like this, it's asking me this clip does not match the sequence setting. Change sequence to match the clip settings. I don't want to do that. What this simply means is that they are telling me that my sequence that I created, which is 1920 by 1080p, an horizontal video, the clip I have is either too large or is too small in terms of its frame size. So it's either smaller than 16 by 9 or it's larger by 16 by 9. Now they are asking me, do I want to change the sequence setting to match this clip, or do I want to continue with existing settings? So because I know the nature of the type of video I want to make, I will say that I want to continue to keep existing settings. Okay, now that it has opened, you see that the clip itself is smaller than the sequence. This is the sequence that you can see in the program monitor. It's bigger than the clip that you have here. All right. So, but what I want to do now is to make sure that I want it to fill all of the screen. If not, you're going to see black bars in the screen. That is not something you want. All right. So that will lead us to one of the things we're going to be doing today: effect controls. Now, if you come here to the top left, I told you that you have the source monitor, but that is the first heading that you have there. If I click here, the next thing to it, you see that I have effect controls, Premiere Composer, and Motion Dock. The Premiere Composer and Motion Dock, all of these stuff are plugins that I downloaded to make my workflow faster. So don't bother yourself with this. We'll talk about this in our subsequent classes. So what comes native with the software is effect controls. I could close it, which I close the panel, or I can undock it. To undock it simply means that I want to make it to float. So it's not out of it. I could keep it any other place I like. Now I'm picking it to move like this when the arrow head is white. If I slide downward a bit, you see that it's not showing a black arrow with a something that looks horizontal box, showing that you can dock it anywhere. I can come here, you see it wants to snap. I could keep it here, or I could put it in the place where I just collected it initially. All right. So this is the effect controls. Okay, now that I've clicked effect controls, you see that there's nothing here. Why is there nothing there? Because the clip has not been selected. The moment I click on this clip, you see that it's now showing several properties, all of the properties that you have by default on the clip. What are the nature of the properties? It is these properties that you can tweak when you want to edit. Because of your editing, you tweak these properties to get a desired result. So these are the basic or fundamental properties in Premiere Pro that you could tweak, change whatever parameter to another, have a mix of different kinds to get the desired result that you are looking for. So the first one we have here is the position. Okay, now I have position. This first position is my X position. All right, so I can move horizontally by dragging to my left. If I'm increasing the value, you see as it's increasing to my right. So just look at this value I'm having here. The moment you come to just highlight it, you see that it changes to an hand that you can slide. I could do this, move downward and upward, however I want. Okay, is this the position I want to keep it? I can keep it here if I like. Is this where I want to keep it? I can keep it here if I like. All right, so that's position. I can position this clip by using all of these values that I have here. So let's say I know a particular value, I want to keep it. Let's say I want it to be in 1630. See the position now. So that's where it is. Okay, so let's look at this clip that we have here. If I want to change the position of this clip, what do? I simply come to the position value here and I keep moving. If I'm sliding, mind you, the moment I click, I position, I just hover around the first position, which is the X-axis, which is the horizontal portion. You see a hand with two sliders, either left or right. If I go left, it will be taking it to the left. If I go right, it will be taking it to the right. If I move to the other, which defines the parameters on the Y-axis, which is the vertical, If I'm going left, upward, if I'm going right, downward. I hope you guys understand this. It's quite simple. Let me just undo until I get to its natural position like I started with. Now the next one is scale. The next property to look at for is scale. So now don't forget that when I imported this clip into the timeline sequence, they asked me a question. They told me that my clip is actually not of the same size with my sequence, but I want to change it so that it can be the same. So you see that and I told you guys earlier that either it is too small or it's too large. When we opened it, we saw that it is too small. So using the scale simply means how small or how big the item is, a clip is, or whatever we are doing is. So I could increase it from 100 to 150. Okay, 151. Just by 150, it filled the screen fully. I could keep increasing it like this. All right. So in the same vein, I can decrease it smaller than its scale. Okay. So all of these are the things that we're using the slider to do all of these things. If I know the particular value I want, I could just click on the number and just put number, then I press enter. So when we're discussing the scale, it's either I am going upward or I'm coming downward. So I could keep increasing like this, I'm reducing it like this, right? Fine. This is what I already told you guys earlier. What about the uniform scale? You see that as I was increasing it initially like this, it was increasing in all directions from the center point. So from this center where we had the anchor points here like this, it was increasing, okay, in every direction equally. But the moment I untick this, let me take it back to 150 for now, so that it just rightly sits on the middle of the screen. If I untick this uniform scale, what happens? I see that my height, because I increase it from 100 to 150, then the width still remains as 100. Okay, so I could increase this one continuously and distort this image, or reduce this, or increase it, however you want to make sure you do it. All right, so that's what scaling is all about. So I could just say keep this at 150 to bring it back. Okay, that's that for scale. What about for rotation? For rotation, I could increase the rotation. Now you see that it is turning about the center, right? So in Premiere Pro or Adobe Suite of softwares, this center point that you see, this thing here, you see when I put it at this plus size in the circle, it changed to this icon that you see there, right? It's called the anchor point. So we have the anchor point in the center. If we take away the anchor point from the center to another position, that particular point is where the rotation is going to rotate about. So you know rotation always takes place about a fixed position. So now it's in the center of this video. So when I keep rotating this is 1 degree, 30 degrees. So now you now see it's now 2 rotation. All right, I'll take it back again so that you don't miss this. So 1 degrees, right? Now if I keep increasing it, it's get to 40 to 90. You know 90 degrees now vertical, right? If you take it again to 180, I've add half rotation, right? And the full rotation is 360 degrees, right? So let's take it to 360. The moment it gets to 360 degrees, you see that it has completed 1. So 1 by 0 degrees, that's the first rotation. If I do this again, now you'll be asking me, nothing has changed, but why is this showing 2 rotations, 3 rotations, 4 rotations, and the degree, when no matter as I rotate it, it's going to come to its starting point? I will explain that later when we start discussing what keyframes are. So for now, I'll take it back to 0 degrees. All right. So we were just talking about this anchor points earlier. I just double click on this clip now on the program monitor. This is the anchor point. After rotation, the next thing we're going to talk about is the anchor point, right? The anchor point is like the position of the center of rotation. Okay, anything you want to do in a clip, maybe you want to change the properties, the motion properties. How do I know that this is motion properties? Because you see, this is effects, right? Effects is the abbreviation for effect. It's called the abbreviation for effect is called effects. So whenever you see effects, effects are used for the abbreviation, right? The motion properties are position, scale, rotation, anchor point, anti-flicker filter, or thereabouts. Okay. Now the next one we'll look at is now the opacity. But before we jump right there, let us continue on the anchor point. We're not going to look at everything that we see here, but rather we'll look at the most important ones that you always come across anytime you are working with Premiere Pro. So for the anchor point, if I move this first 640 that you see here is usually horizontal. So you see me moving the clip, right? See where the anchor point now is, right? I do this again in the horizontal side. Okay. So if I want to make a rotation, you now see how it is turning, right? No longer about the center. Now we now have the anchor point not at the center of the clip, because definitely this cannot be the center of the clip. Center of the clip will be somewhere around this portion here. Okay, so that's how you use to control several things. For a clip now, it might not really make a lot of sense to you, but if you are trying to maybe animate a letter or an object, you now understand what this simply means. So I'm going to undo until I get to the default. Okay, all right. So the next property you want to look at is opacity. Opacity, if you've been working with let's say if you work with Photoshop before, you know what opacity is. Opacity, opaque, the degree of opaqueness, how opaque is a layer from another layer. So let's say we have this video. I'm going to import another video right now. Okay, let's say I import this video. Okay, now that I've imported this video, I'll bring it now, drag it into my timeline. Because I started it at the playhead at the beginning, it's now masking the lady that was before, which is this one. Okay, the one I double clicked now, it's not marking this one that you can see in the source monitor. Why is it showing on the source monitor? Because I double clicked it, right? If I double click this other one, you see it will show in the source monitor too. Okay, so this video of my hair is now masking this other one. If I want to be able to see this lady, what am I going to do? I'll have to go to effects. You locate this in the source area, right? So the first one is source. The next tab, click this double arrow, you see other tabs that are there. Click on the effect controls. Okay, when you click on the effect controls, click your clip. Just click on your clip once, then you see all of the properties with which you can tweak for them. Now, I was talking about opacity earlier. What do I need to do? It's at 100%. I put my cursor to it and it changes to a hand with two sliders, left and right. So if I'm sliding left, I'm reducing its degree of opaqueness. Okay, so I'm not making it see-through. The more I reduce it, the more you are seeing through the other videos. So these are videos where you see different type of clips that are bonded together. This is how they were done. Now, because of opacity, I'm looking at two things. Then it makes sense that there should be some sort of blend mode. If I want to blend both of these two clips organically so that it looks as if it is one, because now you can easily tell that, okay, this kind, you cannot make this out. There's a guy's hair here, there's a lady here, but it doesn't look as if it is one video. So if you play around the blend mode, just like you do in Photoshop, multiply, for example, will remove all the dark areas in the video, while screen will remove all the white areas in the video. Right? So you can play with different type color dodge so that you can look more original. Okay, soft light, whatever you're going to do to get the kind of look and feel that you want. There are some like saturation that look as if there was nothing done in the first place. Okay, so if I turn back my opacity up to 100, you will see that I'm now seeing more of the my video on top of it. Okay, if I reduce it back, so that's that for opacity and the blend. When we start working on the project, we're gonna see how all of these things go. So I'll delete this top video for now. I light this video so that I can get its properties. Okay, we'll talk about time remapping shortly, because time remapping is something that you before we talk about time remapping, let us look at what keyframes are. What are keyframes? So let's say I have a letter. I'll delete this clip for now. I click on the type 2 and I write A. So this is A. Whenever you are working with the type 2, immediately you write, you're going to see that in this area, the essential graphics panel is going to pop up. What does this panel let you do? This panel lets you edit the text. Okay, so for example, if I want to align it in the middle, you see vertical center, horizontal center, right? Now if I want to align to the top, I click this. If I want to align to the middle, I click this. If I want to align to the center horizontally, I click it. So I hope you get the idea. All right, so for now, let me just pick it to any position I like. Pick it like this. Let's say this is A, and I want this A over time in, say, in 1 second to move from this point to a point, say here, like this. How am I going to do this? This is a simple animation. That's what I'm teaching motion design at the moment, but all of these things are simple things you could do in Premiere. I will use this to explain what keyframes are. It is here initially. Don't forget that the property, the effect property I'm going to use to change position from point A, from this point to this point, is going to be the position property of this object I'm clicking, in this case A, right? So if I key in this position at this 00 mark, for example, when I move to 15-second mark and I want it to move from this position to, say, somewhere around here in 15 seconds, what am I going to do? I'm just going to use the horizontal slider to push it this way so that it is there. All right, so this keyframe is now storing the position property of this asset, of this object here, A, of the letter A that we have here, such that when it was 0000, its position that we keyed in, we keyframed it, which is we stored it at 00, was 960 540. Okay, now when it is now in 15 seconds, after 15 seconds, it's moved to 1850.8 540. All right, so that's the position for this. So when I play this, this is how it's going to look like. It will look as if the A is moving from this initial point down to this, somewhere around here that I set it in. So that's what keyframes are used for. I hope you understand this. Now it took 15 seconds for this. Usually when you are trying to work something like this out, you don't want to use a whole 15 seconds for this, right? So how do I check where my keyframes are? This box that we see here, you saw that immediately we started keyframing this little diamond shape, okay, of is what you call tetrahedron. This tetrahedron shape came. So these are the two keyframes that we have here at position 00 and at 15 seconds. So if I think it is too slow, or it's too slow or too fast, but in this case too slow, I want it to take 3 seconds so that it can look natural. I just have to grab this keyframe and push it backward like this. So if I want to play it now, it's just going to take about how many seconds? 3 seconds or so to complete that movement. I hope you guys get the idea. So that's that for keyframing. Okay, now this same stuff that we have, this same letter A, what if I want to change the scale, the scale which it started with? Maybe I want to make it bigger or smaller with time as it is moving from point A to point B. I'm still going to use keyframe. So you need to understand that you keyframe when you want to change a particular property. You keyframe the first property, so however you adjust the property you like. Let's say you want it big, adjust it big, keep it the way you like it, then press the toggle animation to keyframe it, then move it forward in time, then change the maybe the property so that the time frame will now show that the thing increased or decreased or moved from point A to point B, or it's rotated or whatever, as we'll see shortly using this letter. So let's just jump back right to our screen as I show you this. Sometimes it will look small for you. What you need to do, you come to this slider here that you see, click it and you drag it in so that you can see them. So this is one of it, this is the second one. You can highlight both of it. Maybe I want to make sure that it does not start at the beginning. Put it around here like this, okay? But I want it to start at the beginning. I'm just showing you so that you know how to play with this. This thing is not about cramming, just understand what I'm doing. All right, if you have any questions, please make sure you ask on the comment section. So let's move to this second property. Always note that it is from where the playhead is. That's where, if you keyframe from where, any keyframe you make is going to start from where you have the playhead. So make sure that you are at the desired point you have it. Okay, so now I'm at the starting now. I'll come here. I like the size of A like this. Then I'll keyframe it because I like it this way. Now I'll move further in time. I don't have to move only here in this keyframe timeline. I could do the same thing here. You see that it's also moving in the keyframe position. So if I press shift, it will snap at the next keyframe. Without shift, it's passing, okay? It's just passing without control. But the moment I hold shift and I drag it, it just move right to the next keyframe. You see it? So it gives you a lot of control so that you know where to go instead of you struggling to select. Now I've already keyframed the starting position. So I want you to increase in size to a particular size, the same place it will move the position keyframe that we did earlier. So I've targeted it. What do I need to do? I need to increase it a bit like this. Okay, to 168. All right. So let's watch how it's going to go. If I play it now, it's going to increase. Okay. There you go. You see it? It's increased all through. All right. As it is moving, it's now increasing. There are several ways to delete keyframes. Either I highlight all of them and click backspace to delete. Okay. Or let me bring that back, for example. With this keyframe, let me bring this keyframes out so that you see what I'm doing. Okay, so I could just select only this one and delete it. Or I could just select all of them here and delete it. Or I could just come to the rotation. If I click it again, you see that it is already selected blue. I selected blue, right? If I click it again, it's going to tell me, a prompt is going to come on. This action will delete existing keyframes. Do you want to continue? Okay. You see it will go. Okay. All right. Well, I like to work fast, just and delete the delete key in the keyboard or backspace in the keyboard. All right. That's for using keyframes. Now, these effects that we've talked about here are the basic effects that you find with most things that you just maybe you click maybe for tests, for videos and the rest. If you come to the project side of things, let me just first, before I discuss these effects that are here, let me import a video. I'll delete this A for now, click the project pane, and let's say I bring this, drag this video down to the timeline, keep existing. If I click this, I'll scale it up like this. Okay, fine. So I want to look at other effects that we have here. If I click on effects here on the project window, what am I going to do? I'm going to get presets, Lumetti presets, audio transition, video effects, video transitions, and custom beam. Okay, so your own might not be looking like my own because I've added some other stuffs to my own which you may not have. Your own may be a native Premiere Pro software. But then let us look at some audio effects that we like. I'll just show you a few of them. Then when you, on your free time, you are working, you will be able to check others. The truth of the matter is that you want to be testing different software, different presets, different effects, maneuver, play with them. It is a combination of these effects that will give you the desired results that we are looking for. All right. So that's that for effect. I'll just show you one or two, then leave you to plan to test out the others. If I just click this drop down under the video effects, we'll see effect that will help us adjust our clip. We want to blur and sharpen our clip. Those one for shine, if I want to invert something, okay. You see color correction, you want to correct the color balance, lumetric color, which is very, very important. It is what we use to do color correction and color grading, which we will look on in this class later. Video limiter, you want to tint. Then if it's one you want to add noise or grain to your video, or you want to key a particular part of your video. For example, I shoot on green screen. This is not real, okay? It's a green screen I'm using. And this is real time because I'm recording now, I'm using another software. But let's say I shoot on a green screen on my point and shoot camera, then I take it later to Premiere Pro to edit. It is from this key, all of these different type of keys, especially this ultra key that is used to remove green screen. I will show you how to use all of this. Track matte key, how to combine video and text. If I want a video to be showing in a confined video, for example, let's say I have letter A, for example, then I say I want the video, instead of letter A to have a color like this, for example, let's say this is A, capital letter A. The essential graphics has opened again, so I can increase the size. Let's say I increase the size, then change the text. So something that is a bit weighty should have some weight. For example, what do we go with, for example? I don't want to waste time doing this. Okay, let's take this, for example, this A. Maybe I should still increase the size a bit. Okay, fine. Now, if I drag the track matte key into this video, what's going to happen? It's going to show on the effect controls. I said that when you have an effect, you have the effect. Where you can get the effect is in the project window. Okay, you usually share with effects and projects. So these are my projects. I click this next tab, is going to give me the effect. The way to input effect is either I'm dragging into the clip, or I just get the clip selected and I double click it. All right, then that property that I just added to that clip is going to show in the effect controls at the bottom, because it's not a default property like this motion property or opacity and time remapping we had earlier. It's something we just added. All of those other ones will come native automatically by a result of opening a clip. But this one, like you find in your effects panels, usually you are the ones who add them inside because you know the desired result you are looking for. For the track matte, if I say okay, it's on video 2, for example, where is video 2? Video 2, this is video 2 here. Okay, video 2 is the test that I have, right? So track math is a way to mask. All right, I want this video, the video with which I want to track math. It simply means I want to put this video into something else. This video have the right to display inside something else. Okay, that's where you use track math. So why do you do that again? So let me undo and take that again. So if I want this video, for example, which is this, I think I should zoom in a bit into, okay, I want this video of this girl, all right, to be displayed inside this letter A. To do that, I'll just come to Effects, Key In, take the track math, drag it and drop it inside the video that I want to display inside something else. Okay, instead I do it like this, or I just double click it. The moment I double click it, it now enter here. How does it show in my effect controls? Is at the moment the source monitor is displaying this video because I clicked it twice. So what I need to do is to click this arrow here and click on the effect control. Then you see the track math that you have here. All right, now the math is now going to ask you, where are you trying to input this video? Is it in track 2, which is the video in video 2? It's showing video 2, it's telling you video 2 because it could be video here, graphics or whatever. But in this case, it's a letter that is here, so I'll choose the one that it is for. So if I click play, for example, the video will be playing only inside A. All right, so that's that for track mathing. Now, what if I want to use ultra key? Ultra key, I told you, is what you drag into a footage that you want to remove the green screen from. I'm just dealing with the basic. Let me import another video here by double clicking. What green screen video do I have here? Okay, this video is a bit long. Okay, let us leave it to do its thing to import the file. All right, so let me just bring this here, for example. Okay, so this is it. If I want to remove this background, this green background, how am I going to do it? I'll come here and look at ultra key. So this key just tells us how to, when you are doing anything within background, you see the first one is, I will talk about is track math. So I want to put one inside another. This ultra key is what, like chroma key. Most of you are used to the word chroma key, so maybe you should call it that. If I drag and drop it here in this key, then I come to the effect controls. I'm going to see my ultra key here. So I have several controls to make it work fine as I like it. Now the key color simply means what color do I want to remove? Is it black? Hell no, it's not. So by default it's showing black. Just come here, use the eyedropper to select a well lit portion. All right, and you see now that it has removed that green for us. But if you look close to this edge around here, you will find out that there is still some element of the green around. So because my backdrop wasn't well lit, it's giving me this problem. So there are other options I could use to clean up the matte that is left behind. I could choke it by increasing it like this. Okay, I could soften, I could add contrast. All right, I could also use this matte generation so that the shadows will go down. Okay, so let us not waste too much time in doing this. So you see that now I've removed the background, so I could put any background of anything I like behind it, maybe a fine office or whatever. Maybe you're creating your content in a place that is not so nice. Okay, so you just want to maybe give it some sort of look as you like. So you just key yourself out and put it whatever. This is an example of something like that. I hope you get the idea. So that's that for that. I don't want to waste too much time in all of these effects. There are so many. You on your own time, you know how to, you practice, just go over them. I'm just going to show you how to use majority of them. Okay, all right. So what if I want to remove let's say I want to remove any effects. that I've added. For example, this key, ultra key effect, I want to remove it. What am I going to do? What am I going to do if I want to remove it? So if I just, you see this effect that is here, it's highlighted, right? If I click it like this, you see it's not cancelled. Simply means I've removed the effect. Okay. Another thing is to click it, highlight it, and just your backspace to delete it. All right, that's if you want to delete it. Okay, but most times if I'm working and maybe I'm just crisscrossing, really looking it, turning it off, so that I don't need to go and delete it. Maybe I will not need it later. I'll just turn it off for the moment. All right, so that's what is done. So if I can do this to this one, it simply means for these guys, this effect here that I have, this track matte effect, I could turn it off, turn it back on, turn it off, turn it back on, or I could decide to delete it. Maybe I don't want it anymore. So let me just Control Z that and bring it back. So that's that for this. So maybe you want to look at maybe what other effect do we have here? Transform effect, we'll explain that later as we work. Stylize, brush strokes, posterize, replicate. Just use your own time, go in your own time and work all of this out. Okay, the next thing we want to look at now is video transitions. Now imagine moving, I guess, because I want to show you what transition is, let me just delete this track matte that we have here. Okay, and also maybe I delete the A that we have here too, so that we have just this clip, these two clips. Okay, so if I'm playing this clip, for example, like this, it's a clip of the girl just smiling and looking at the camera. You see that the way it's moved into mine is very abrupt. It's not soft, very, very sharp. So you don't want that. Okay, you don't want to do that. A transition is simply applied between two clips. Okay, it could be a letter, it could be two clips, it could be sound or whatever, just name it, between two things that you have on your timeline. If there's a cut, then you can add a transition. You see, the moment if I'm here, the cursor is just showing this arrowhead, but when I get to this part, so you see this ripple edit point, so I could just right click it and you will see apply default transition. This is one of the fastest ways to apply your default transition, which is okay. So it's now subtle, right? It's no longer as fast, it's just a crossfade. Okay, so that's how you do your transitions. All right, now because you are a beginner, you might need to be doing your transitions this way. For the most part, pros don't use the transitions that comes directly or natively with software. What we do is we have more interesting transitions with the use of plugins, with the use of templates and the rest. And I'm going to show you guys very beautiful templates and plugins that you can use for starter to just make your work so superb at the end of this training session. All right, I think that's that. So thus far, we've already treated effect and effect controls. We've also treated keyframing, and I think this is a good place to now talk about color correction and color grading. What does this mean? So let me by this time make an import of a particular clip that I would like. Let me delete all of these first, go back to my project and bring in, okay, let me bring in this, for example. I'll drag and drop in the project. Okay, then I'll drag and keep. Oh, it's not at the starting yet. Okay, now it's telling me that should I keep existing? Always keep existing, guys. Keep existing. Okay, please do. Okay, now first thing you will notice is the grain are not as sharp. If you want it to be very, very entertaining in the eyes, the skies are not blue, they are kind of washed out here. So this is what color grading and color correction help you do. What is the difference between the two? Color correction simply means I'm giving the right color to the clip. While color grading simply means whether it's the right color or not, this is the look and feel I want this video to have. Okay, there are some videos that are vintage look. Some videos they have vintage look, while some have this you know, the way the cinematic movies are kind of different from horror movies. Okay, action movies look a particular way from those what's it called, Cinderella story kind of movie. So it is the duty of the video editor to know the way it's going to color grade to get a particular desired look that they want. So for color correction, you want to give out the right colors. Maybe for certain reasons your camera couldn't capture the right colors as it should be, so you have to color correct. Let us jump back into the software and see how we could do something like this. Again, go to effects. What you use to do color correction and color grading in Adobe Premiere Pro is what we call the lumetri color. So I just type it. There are other ways to get it. Just go to stylize, I guess. Okay, it's not stylize. I think it's video. No. Okay, to prevent wasting much time, I'll just type lumetri color. When you type it, this is it. It comes out. So like I said earlier, it's either I double click on it or I drag it into my clip. So in this case, double clicking just seems kind of faster for me. I double click and I come to my effect controls. I will find it here. Okay, it's always at the bottom here. Everything that has to do with the video as you just added will be the last before you get to the audio. Okay, so now this is lumetri color. We have basic correction, we have creative. So this for the basic correction, the exposure of the camera, the contrast, highlights. Highlights, you talk about those bright areas of your clip, right? The shadows and the dark areas. The white has to do with those that are white. Black has to do with the color black. Okay, so some persons always confuse the meaning of shadows and black, right? Even though they are related, they are different things. Now the saturation tells you how much more do you want the color to show. Okay, do you want it a bit washed out or not? Now for the creators, for the basic, for the creative, the look that you want, we have different lenses by default in Adobe Premiere Pro. So you choose. If I choose this, for example, you see that it has changed. Okay, so all of these are kind of presets, all right, depending on the kind of lens that you use. So if I want this clip to look as if it was shot with an SL blue, this is what it's going to look like. Okay, iron. So for the purpose of what we want to do, I keep it to none. And the intensity will tell us by how much all of these adjustments we made will show. So if you want to have something like a faded film, you do that. All right, I will explain all of this right away. But then the basic thing I want us to know about when you are trying to correct colors first is this HSL secondary. It is very, very important to know how to use this tool. HSL secondary. In fact, I will click the drop down. When you do, you see the keys: set color, add color, and remove color. So if I want to tackle a particular color in my clip, for example, I just said that this clip here is kind of washed out. Okay, so if I decide to add, to make it bluer, like a sky blue or maybe green, whatever thing I choose to make it look like, that's left to me. All right, so I could do the same thing. I can just say, okay, what color do I want to work on? I'll set the color. Click here, the eyedropper tool, go for a good place in the clip and select it. Now it has been selected. All right. So, but then if you were not observant, you wouldn't know that it was selected. One way to know if it was fully selected is coming here to show mask, toggle it on. Now you're not seeing the part that was selected. Okay, it's showing the color and gray, right? So I could use color and blacks. This is the only part that was selected. I could use white and black so that I'll say, okay, this area of the clip is where I was selected. But I like to work with the gray and color so that I know what I'm doing. If I just slide up a little bit, I want to add color because I know that the sky actually came all this area. It's not only the small portion. So I'll click the add color. I'll just click and drag. As I'm dragging with wisdom so that I don't select all of the clips. Okay, so this way I got. I think this is good. All right. So now I've got the color I want to work with. So if I scroll down a bit, I could blur it a little. It's always better when you blur it a little. Okay. Then come down to the color correction side. And with this color wheel as you see here, click and drag to the color you want it to look like. So I'll be taking it down to the blue. What kind of blue do I want for it? Okay, I think this is okay. All right, so now it looks as if nothing has happened, but if I go back and I toggle the show mask off, this is what we have. Is there any difference? How do we know that? Remember the last time I said there's a way to turn off a particular effect. So I go to the scroll up, go to the geometric color, and I toggle the effect on or off by clicking this effects. If I turn it off, you see how it is kind of washed out. I turn it on, sky is blue. Turn it off, turn it on. Okay, so if I play this clip now, this is how it's going to look like.
You like the little flowers in it too.
See how the color is now? It's now looking more lively, right? Okay, let me stop this for a while. Now, don't forget that I told you guys earlier when we were working on the effects, especially those motion effects, like the position, opacity, add scale. I told you can keyframe it. So what if I actually wanted this geometric color to be keyframed? Let it start from being washed out to start looking very nice. How would I do something like that? How will I do something like that? Okay, so you see all of this. I could increase the saturation. You see it's now bluer, right? I've removed it. So the moment I remove the saturation like this, it's gone to the way the clip was initially. All right. So if I turn it, this feature off, you see it. Okay. So if I want to keyframe it so that it look as if the things are just, maybe you want to show better times with pump, maybe depending on whatever you want to show. This saturation now, I have to toggle the animation keyframe on at the beginning of the clip. If I do this, then I come here, then I increase the saturation all the way to 300. What it's going to do is that it's going to start from as it was initially and now it's
You like the little flowers in
that's how it
it
is. So you can keyframe most of the properties in Premiere Pro. What if I want to make these greens pop better? How am I going to do it? I want the green to pop better. How am I going to do it? It's kind of simple. Using the same HSL technique, I will just add another geometric color into the same clip. So I can add as many lumetri color into a clip more often as I want. If I can do that for lumetri color effect, I can do that for any other stylized effect, maybe scale or whatever, as many times as possible as I want it. All right. As we go further, I will show you how to use adjustment layers to work on some things like this. Okay, so let's jump right in. So this is, I need another lumetri color. It's either I will click and drag inside, or I just double click it. So if I scroll down now, I'll see the new lumetri color I just added, which is this. Okay, if I go to the HS cell, which lets me to select a particular color, I'll select a place that is green. Which green am I looking at? Let's say this. Now I'll now start adding. But before I add, I want to make sure that I'm showing the mask. Okay, so the place I selected, these are, is carrying part of the building. I don't want that. It's showing the leaves quite alright, which are green, but some of the buildings are looking like kind of that shade of green. So I'll add the color I want to be this green here, like this. Okay, so I'll look for a way to remove these houses, part of the houses that are here. So that's when you need the remove color. I click it open, I drag it so that Premiere understand that this part is something I don't want. I click the add color back. So this sort of a battle that I'm battling now. Maybe I'll be doing it one at a time. Areas to remove. Then come back here, areas to add. This is crazy, man. Okay, I think it will work better this way. Let's go like this. Now I'll increase the saturation. If I increase the saturation this way like this, it's not greener than it used to be, right? So for us to look at it very well, toggle this off. Okay, so if we go to the lumetri color effect here and turn it off, on, off, on, off. See this? On, off. Another thing you could do is the nature of maybe the color I want. You see, I can use this to change the color of the flowers by choosing color to be this. Okay, so it depends. I can want it greener, like coming here like this and choosing this green. All right, so you see the green now. If I go to the lumetri color effects here for this second one we added and I turn it off, you see how different it actually is from the first one. It's not, this one is looking livelier, right? Livelier. So we started with a video that looked more or less, I want to turn this first one off, more or less like this. Okay, then we treated the sky first, right? Then we now treated the leaves. Same way, you can mark out different areas and you treat all of them like that to get the desired results that you want. Okay, so if I play this now, this is how the video is now looking.
You like the little flowers in the tree.
So we'll take one more lesson on working with color grading and color correction by doing something fun. Most clients, they like to do, there are certain type of video that people like to do on social media. Okay, there was this video I watched one time. The guy's clothes was changing to different color while he was dancing. And people were asking, how did he do it? How did he do it? How did he do it? Well, let's find how we can do something like that. Just the initial stage, because we are taking too much time. I didn't plan for this to be very, very long. So let me delete this first, and then go to my project and import this file. There's a okay. This is the closest to the guy I could get. I'll just drag this into my project, drag it into the timeline. Keep existing, right? So I want it a bit bigger, so I'll go to this effect controls and increase my scale until I have something like this. Okay, so what happens? So what do I want to do with this? This is a video of a lady. She's just having different pose, right? So it was shot in the reverse order. Okay, so usually for TikTok and the rest social media. So let's work on maybe you want to change cloth color, what have you, because we're talking about color correction and color grading. We're still going to use lumetri color. If I double click on lumetri color, I'm going to have it. Okay, let me drag it in here. So this is lumetri color. Now if I want to change the color, whenever you are targeting a color, let me just make this clear. Whenever you are targeting a color, what you need to do is to use that HSL. Even if you want to refine the skin tone of a face, you want to make it smoother and thereabouts, always target use lumetri color and go to the HSL. That's what you use to target. I will show you how to make the whole video pop better. Maybe tweak a video is dark, it's not as clear, it's not as sharp. I will show you that after now, so that we can wrap up for the class today. But for now, let us look at how to change color correction. Now we now have lumetri color here, HSL secondary. I'll set the color. This is the color. Click anywhere in a cloth, it will select it. Then if I show the mask, this, but I know that it has not selected everywhere. Okay, so I'll use the add color to select. Just move, slide gently as you are moving across to be selecting. This will be selecting. Oh, it has now selected part of her hand and places that I don't want. But don't worry, we are going to remove them shortly. So I've selected this, right? So using the remove color, click the remove color and just click move it around her leg. Oh, too bad. We'll add the color back. Okay, then using remove color, a leg area. I don't plan for this to be taking this much time, so I guess we'll just work without doing much of that. Okay, so let's go. I think we can work with this. So what am I going to do now? I want to change it to blue. Change it to blue like this, or green. So this is what we got. Maybe because we did not properly select this. It's now looking as if the color has changed, but just a bit. Okay. So the cloth has changed, but I don't want to waste too much time doing this. But I hope you get the idea, right? resolution of the video is not very nice, so it's Premiere is having a kind of difficult time to get it. But just so you know, this is what it looked like initially, and now this is what it's looking like. Okay, you can use to change the color. You can do the same thing for skin correction and what's not. So I think this is a good place for us to end this class so that it's not too long. Before then, let me just do something. So when we come tomorrow, we're just going to start with color grading, just making pictures brighter, better, more colors, and looking finer. All right, so see you guys tomorrow. In tomorrow's class, we are going to conclude by everything we've done, take a run through from start to finish, then work a real-time project. A real-time project will use all of the skill sets that you've learned thus far. The truth of the matter is that video editing is not just a one common and you learned everything. All right, you want to keep practicing. Just like every visual art in its own sense, then it's a school you don't graduate from. You keep refining yourself, trying to make yourself better. The day you stop learning is the day you die, especially video editing. See you guys tomorrow, where we're going to walk through everything we've done and start a project and see if we could just finish it. And I'll also tell you the things that you will need to fortify yourself for a career in video editing. How to seek jobs, get jobs, source for jobs, and make money doing this. See you guys. Thanks for attending this training workshop.